think this is episode 18.
From us or from the whole deal?
From the whole thing. Episode 18.
What's your... Oh, Triplefour podcast.
The Triplefour podcast. You should know.
I forget to.
I'm here with the co-founder, original cast member.
OG.
What's your name?
Jacob Gasho.
Okay.
Jacob Walter Gasho. A.K.A. I forgot the name of my characters and all this stuff.
Alex G. No, wait, what's...
Alex G. Oh.
Jay Walter.
Yeah, Jay Walter is my stage name. New album coming soon. Shameless plug.
Check out Jay Walter on Bandcamp, jwalterbandcamp.com.
Jay Walter, I think that is it.
.bandcamp.
Something like that.
We are in right now. I'm here in the Big Apple, Lawrence, Kansas. We're outside the place where it all began. The origin.
That area over there? Oh, I guess the listeners, it's not going to make more sense.
No, oh man, you should see this area we're pointing at right now.
Dude.
It's so
we
crazy.
Filmed a Halloween special over here.
Remember the Halloween skit?
And then I told a Taco Bell lady to go fuck herself.
No,
I didn't do that. But I did.
You just yelled "fuck" at a Taco Bell drive-thru.
I like that video.
I'll post it come Halloween time.
Yeah, Triplefour podcast listeners, be on the lookout.
Triplefour podcast listeners should know.
There's like 16 of them.
Rhett sometimes.
One of the 16.
If he hears this, he's going to be disappointed that we didn't invite him. So fuck you, Rhett.
Well, I texted him, so he knows I'm probably doing something.
But I'm only here for one night only. It's a one-night stand here in the City of Angels, Lawrence, Kansas.
I remember walking past this animal hospital sign countless
Dude, we ought to go
times.
walk into my favorite liquor store. And
Which one was that?
The one over there. The one that I always went to. And you must have been there with me at some point.
On that street?
No, it's this way. If you go left on Arkansas.
Oh, no, I never went with you.
I went there many times. And I'm sure if I walked in there now, the guy would be like, oh, yeah.
You bought a lot of beer from me.
And I'm like, yeah, man, you got the Schlitz.
Was that the inspiration for that bit, and You're Not Funny, where you're like... He's like, are you okay?
No, that was a different one. That was a different liquor store. That was the one.
So many liquor stores know
the liquor stores. Well, actually, I have another story, but that continues this liquor store saga. But no, that one, the one that inspired the You're Not Funny joke was one over by Hy-Vee when I was living with Andrew off 23rd. Those were the days.
That Hy-Vee's closing down.
No, oh really?
Yeah, dude. 6th Street Hy-Vee, Dunzo
journalism. Not 6th Street Hy-Vee. I'm talking about the other one over off
that one's
23rd.
That one's still good.
That one's killing.
That one's like maybe that's why the 6th Street Hy-Vee's closing.
So recently, I will buy beer from the gas station near my house. And so, like, when I go to work and then I'm coming home from work, I'll stop in there on the way home. And I've been drinking Natty Light. That's been my choice, you know. But one night I was going over to somebody's house and they asked me to pick up something for them. They asked me to pick up, they were like, can you get me 2 6-packs of Bud Light Lime? So, so I'm checking out and... the girl who's usually the one to check me out, she goes, what, are you having a party or something? She's like, I'm used to the 1 6-pack. But now you got all of these things. And I'm like, yeah, I was, getting some. Because, I didn't really want to say I was getting it for somebody else. Because then it comes this whole thing like, wait, are you buying for minors?
Yeah. And you don't want to say, oh, no, it's for me.
No, I don't want to say, yeah.
That's worse.
Yeah, and it's like, I just need to get, I was like, I think I did end up just saying, like, yeah, no, it's for somebody else, and she's like, yeah, well,
Blew it off.
Yeah, it was weird.
Man, I've had the inkling to want to actually buy a 6-pack recently, but, I don't know, there's something stopping me. I feel like buying a 6-pack of beer, I'm just going to go over the edge.
Yeah, 1 6-pack. This is like,
and then
you have 1 cigarette, next thing, you're doing heroin.
I know. I don't want to be that guy.
You want to be
1 beer every day guy.
A 6-pack is really not shit. Like, I mean,
It's not a lot.
it's not.
Especially
If you want to get craft beer, which is what I assume you're talking about.
See, that's all.
You won't be able to finish 6 of them. Craft beer is so much more like filling. And
Well, no, see, I'm talking 6-pack for a week. Like, I'm drinking one a day.
That's literally nothing.
I know. I don't know. I'm just fucking stupid.
There would probably be health benefits associated with that.
Yeah, they're gonna find out a beer a day
Keeps the doctor
kills cancer.
Keeps the doctor paid. Bud Light, check it out.
See, new bit starting on the podcast.
Very good stuff. So, the last podcast that you were a guest on. Well, no, you're not a guest. You're a bona fide host.
Bona fide host, but the last one
was the one we did with Rhett.
Yeah, so that was for all hosts. Maybe Rhett was
no. Rhett's still a guest. He's got to pay his dues.
Yeah. Fucking idiot.
Dumbass. Very mean-spirited episode.
I hope you hear this, Rhett.
I hope you hear it. He's gonna be listening to this like, what did I do?
I thought these guys are my friends.
I know what he did. He didn't drop off our Blu-rays at Liberty Hall.
Yeah, see, that's why we hate him.
And that's why we've shunned him. Are you still working at school?
I work at the school and I work at a church.
You work at a church?
The church is fucking... Dude, you know what's crazy? I heard a guy who does side pastoral work. Like, he used to be a full-time pastor, now he just goes every once in a while. I heard a guy...
Freelance pastor.
He called a woman at the church who was on the phone and wanted to talk to him. He called her a bitch after he hung up on her. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get right on that."
Very like, Christ-like.
Bitch. And then he just walked away.
Very Christ-like. Jesus would be proud.
No. It was so.
Bitch, get off the phone.
It was weird.
You whore.
And then he said,
"You're a whore."
I've been dealing with this girl for 20 years. Pure evil. Like, damn, dude.
Oh man, no, that's not.
You got some demons.
That's something you don't want to hear. He's got demons.
Well, I don't know. I was talking to her too. She didn't seem like she had pure evil. Pure evil is like, that's Hitler.
Well, you know what?
Pure evil.
People that are pure evil, they don't seem like they're pure evil.
Oh shit.
That's how they get you with their evil
you
ways.
saying I'm evil or this chick was evil?
No, I mean, we both have evil tendencies. Maybe like all those hurtful things we said about Rhett.
Well, no, in my head at night when I'm on my little telephone. On a little thing that rhymes with Orn Grub and
Corn Grub?
That rhymes with Corn Grub.
Corngrub.com.
And I'm like, oh, look at this video. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. Jesus.
Don't do that one.
But then
he's okay with the perfectly vanilla, regular stuff.
Vanilla ass gangbang.
Wait, when you say it like that, it sounds way worse.
Jesus promoted Mary Magdalene, she was a prostitute, ass gangbangs. He's okay with that. I've met him.
You know, I saw a film called The Last Temptation of Christ. Have you seen that one?
I don't think so.
It's a Martin Scorsese movie. Willem Dafoe plays Jesus.
Oh, I've heard that one's like the best Jesus movie ever.
Oh, it's great. But what's cool about it is that, like, it kind of tells the story of Jesus, like, beginning to end. But it makes him seem like such a real person.
Oh,
you know,
cool.
because he is challenged by so many things, and he has a lot of personal conflict. Like, a big part of it is that he doesn't know if he is the Messiah or not.
Whoa.
Like people keep telling him, like, yo, you know you're God's son, right? And he's just like, I don't know, dude. That's a direct line from the movie. I don't know, dude. A letter from St. Paul to the Corinthians. I don't know.
Dude. This dude has said, I don't know.
Dude 316. That's when they forgot one of the names of the disciples.
It wasn't Deuteronomy, it was Dude.
Deuteronomy. Nice. Very good. When's your Netflix special come out?
I can say Deuteronomy.
It could be titled
am I right?
Deuteronomy.
Oh, that would be a good title, I think, for a Netflix special.
For a thing about funny Christian jokes.
Yeah, fun. It's humor for Christians.
Humor for all ages.
All ages, except people above the age 18.
You know what I'm realizing is we're walking the same path we would walk if we were walking home from the bar, which we...
Except the opposite way.
Yeah,
we're walking towards one.
Hold on.
Now.
Hold for cars. Who's in charge of cars?
Whoever's doing that. Hey, Tom.
That's
car should
that's
figure
like my
it out.
dad's favorite joke when we're shooting something. Who's in charge of whatever? Like if there's a plane, or if there's like a bunch of like bugs making noise, he'll be like, "Who's in charge of bugs?
Okay.
Where's the bug wrangler?"
So how did the laughs go? Are they like, huh? Or is it
No,
silence,
dude,
or-
he can play a crew like a fiddle. Like the crew and the
Wow.
talent,
Yeah.
like everybody laughs. He's got like 5 jokes and he uses them on every shoot. Like some of it like so one of them is and this is like a real film industry term according to him. I can't trust him. So when you're shooting the last shot of the day, it's called the martini shot, because after you shoot it, everybody goes and gets martinis and because they're done for the day. So it's the martini shot.
The martini shot.
So he always says that when we're doing the last shot of the day. He goes, "This is martini," and then it's like we do 5 takes of it. Of course, he's like, "All right, martini, take 5." And there's a lot of that. He's also got a ton of stories from working on stuff. So like, he's got a story about Arnold Schwarzenegger or something, and
Didn't he meet Brad Pitt or some like big dude like that in a movie? Or he was in a movie.
He was in The Informant, which had Matt Damon in it.
Oh, Matt Damon.
He was a barely visible extra in that movie,
You see
and
his
to
back,
this
don't
day,
you
can kind of see his outline, his vague silhouette.
Does he bring it up a lot?
Yeah, it brings it up all the time. If Matt Damon is a subject of conversation, he says, "Oh, my co-star." My dad has dad jokes for days.
Dude, my dad, if dad jokes took heroin and then got diagnosed with cancer and said fuck it and just started doing crack cocaine and heroin, that's what his jokes are.
That sounds like such a great pitch, though. Like, you're telling me that sounds like a good thing.
I
Like
think
dad
it's
jokes.
funny.
Dad jokes on heroin could also be a Netflix special
Dude.
title.
Me and my brother are like, we have like this very bonding moment whenever my dad will send text, because they're so like, it's like he doesn't even belong in this universe. They're just so
Your
bizarre.
dads transcend.
They're bizarre, but also so ordinary. It's like, man, does he know what's going on?
Does he really know?
I've only seen him really laugh twice, and one was at a Seinfeld episode, another one was at a Geico commercial where a possum pretends to play dead, and then it comes alive and scares these kids.
Wow.
That's his sense of humor.
Maybe those are the greatest jokes ever.
Could be. The guy, weird guy. He's trying to give me
He's
housing
gonna
advice.
listen. He's gonna listen to this.
I hope he does, and he understands my true feelings. And then we'll cry, like, I love you.
Speaking of your brother, I wore this shirt as a tribute.
Oh, dude, that is hilarious. I think that whole thing.
So did somebody go? Okay, explain for the people.
So this was what the deal was. So I guess I didn't know anything about this until he told me. There's this men's rights activist thing in Portland where dudes just wear these like Freddie Perry or whatever it's called polo shirts.
Fred Perry,
polo shirts, and they're like, men rule, women suck.
the Proud Boys.
Proud
I
Boys.
believe they are also. They're like no masturbating. I think that's one of their things.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
These guys are not Proud
There's a lot
Boys.
of these different alt-right men's rights people that have different like rules. I think they're the no masturbating ones. The Proud Boys.
Okay, we gotta talk about that after I finish this.
Okay.
So my brother wore the verbatim exact same shirt. He just thought it was a cool ass shirt, which it is a cool shirt. And some dude, he was just getting weird looks all day at school. But then finally some dude came up to him and was like, "Hey man, are you a Proud Boy?" And he was like, "What?" And he didn't. And then so this guy just had to explain to him this whole thing. So nothing bad happened, but it's just like he probably could have gotten beaten up. People are that crazy now.
Wait, so did was the person asking because they were like,
They knew
are
what-
you a Proud Boy because I will beat your ass, or are you a Proud Boy because I'm tight with that?
I don't know, because I haven't talked to him since. Like, I've just texted with him. As soon as I see him, though, I'm going to ask everything. But, because that's one thing I want to know, if the dude was either A, wanting to, like, start some shit, or B, start a new club at school. But I didn't know they didn't masturbate.
I think that's them, because there's at least one group. I read this book that was all about alt-right groups and like the origins of the alt-right, and And
Sounds like an interesting book.
it was called Kill All Normies. It was sort of about the beginnings of our modern culture wars.
Oh, what year does it start?
That's what I thought was interesting, because I always thought, as a bit of a internet weird stuff historian myself,
Yeah.
I always thought it started with Gamergate, which I bet you're not familiar with.
When was that?
It was like 2014, I think.
So was it like what's that thing that people?
Watergate.
Oh no, I thought is it a streaming service, like where people watch you play
No,
games?
no. It's just a term that describes a era where there was a lot of these dialogues about like women in games and like the way that video games portray female characters.
So it's like the Renaissance of games.
Yeah, but that started that started like this big like kind of argument, because so there was one woman named Anita Sarkeesian who crowdfunded a series that she was going to do about how women are portrayed in video games. And she got funded so much, and she basically started saying like, this like Lara Croft, maybe that's not the best image of women in video games. Or like, why is it always, that princesses are being saved, and like all video games put you in this like male savior type deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never watched it. It seemed harmless to me. Like, she's probably made a lot of good points. But people were so upset by this because they were like, don't take my video games away.
Oh, yeah.
And so they got all mad, and really like, lots of female like women working in the gaming industry, or I don't know, cultural commentators, where there was a lot of dialogue about all of that, and a lot of people were mad. It's so irrelevant now when you think about it, but like...
But 2014, that wasn't too long ago.
It's 5 years, but if you think about it, like, that was really the beginning of when people on the internet were starting to be like, hey, have you noticed that this thing is homophobic? Have you seen like this?
Oh,
or that? But it seemed so simple at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it ramped up and really started going really hard by like, 2016, and now we just live in a hell pit.
Now it's just a common knowledge that people are crazy right now.
Things are crazy right now, as some say.
So what did the book say?
So the book said that it actually could go all the way back to Occupy Wall Street. So like the idea was like, because you remember what that deal was, right? Like it was, protesting the 1%, protesting outside of big banks and stuff in New York, and people wearing their Guy Fawkes masks, and
but shit hit the fan, right? Like didn't
nothing actually happened. It was just people like hanging out outside of these places and saying, we are the 99% Occupy, and all that. And so like what this book proposes is that was the first time that people like social activism became really visible on social media.
Twitter,
like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all that, and in America at least. And so that was when like this idea of virtue signaling could be first seen. So virtue signaling is basically this idea of like when you see somebody being very socially conscious and being an activist and being engaged, that they're only doing it to make themselves look cool or look good,
to be part of the crew.
Yeah. So that was what started that, and that makes people mad, right? So that's when these things kind of started happening, and then you've got Coney 2012. If you remember Coney,
yeah,
that was another good example of like, here's this really this cause you can get into, and then everybody's like, well, fuck you, you're just doing this to look good on Facebook, and then basically those are the first two like warning signs, and then Gamergate was like super huge example of that. And then basically since Gamergate, it's like Tumblr activists, and they make people on 4chan mad, and these people on Twitter are talking about cancel this guy for his jokes, and so that's where we're at.
So Yeah, it's strange how like all that shit gets.
It's
Like
real.
you never know where it really starts, and you don't really like right now. You don't really see an end to it. Like it just seems all fucking chaotic.
Yeah, I was thinking about that also. Like, how does it end? Because the struggle will, like, this, like, social struggle will never end. Like, we're not, we'd have to reach the perfect society.
Yeah, and it's impossible.
It's not possible. So, you know what I think is going to happen is kind of like what we were talking about earlier. A Sharon Tate is going to die. A Sharon Tate has to die if this is going to end.
The dark side of liberalism.
Yeah. Well, you know what I thought that was going to be when Trump was elected, right? Maybe I should cut that out because I don't like getting political.
So, okay.
I don't like getting political.
Let's get like a little... Let's get a little bit political, but like not too political. So, pinball off that. Did you think that liberals were gonna, after Trump was elected, we're gonna do something really fucking crazy, like try and assassinate him or whatever?
No, it's not like liberals are going to do something, I guess. I just thought that, like, man, people are going to be just depressed and we're just going to wallow in it or something, you know? But, like, no, the whole concept has been the revolution, right? Like, the whole concept since Trump has been elected is people saying, you know, we're in the revolution. And we have, at every step of every day, something has to be done to resist. That is tiring.
I really can't stand those things that say like resist hate and that type of stuff. I think they're
Say no to racism.
I think they're
in the Champions League.
a decently, like, the message is okay, but I feel like you could go about it a bit differently than making the other side of the argument like completely evil people. I think that's where people fuck up. It's like you just really blame someone to the extent like this person, well, if we just killed all these people, everything would be completely okay. I hear that every day from a person I work with. She's like,
what if we just killed everybody?
She said that before. I'm like, I don't know what to fucking say. It's not in my head. Like, yeah,
this is
totally.
like, this is the plot of like a lot of like sci-fi things, I feel like, almost, right? Like,
I've heard that new sci-fi stuff is because the lady I live with, she's a huge sci-fi nerd. She says a lot of the new shit is about a global warming crisis.
oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's definitely movies and stuff and stories I can recall from like Thanos, right? Thanos from Avengers. I feel like maybe you just tuned out. But like long story short, he's a big purple alien man, and he's like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I
he's
know
like,
this part of the movie.
I'm gonna kill half of the universe
to save
save the other half. I think that's kind of that concept, which is like, well, he's a villain in that movie because that's not how that works. But like, think about and this has been said many times. Think about World War II. Like, World War II brought us out of the Depression because we had something to fight for.
And that brought us together.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
so something will have to happen, I guess, because let's say Bernie Sanders is elected president.
Yeah.
Most liberals will be happy, and all the conservatives will be pissed.
Really pissed.
And so it's not just gonna end, and there's not ever going to be one guy who does it for everybody. Which I think there's a part in the joke from Futurama where there's two guys running for president, and one of them is Jack Johnson and the other is John Jackson, and and they look exactly the same. And the one guy says, I believe your 1% robot titanium tax goes too far. And the other guy goes, I believe the robot titanium tax doesn't go far enough. And
everyone, like, it's half and half. Like, everyone wants this.
It's like, but somebody said to me, like, that's actually a perfect political system. Because when you think about it, if we're just splitting the vote 50 to 51, then that's like the least damage for the losing side in some way. You know, like, and I know not everybody thinks about things in that way, like minimize damage.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're
Like
saying.
if the 51% thing, like is better than if somebody wins by 70%, then 30%. I don't know what I'm saying.
It's okay.
But like, if the platforms are very similar, and it comes down to very small details, then the loss is like much less for the people who are losing.
Because 50% of people wanted this other thing.
Yeah. So like now all the platforms are so extreme. Like it's like we do this or we die, and it's kind of like either like
okay. I know what you're talking about now. So in the Futurama scenario, things are decently similar.
Yeah, it's so
there's
similar.
There's just a little bit of a difference. And so if someone wins, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But in this case, you're like, everyone points to Bernie Sanders like this guy is pure socialism. And then they look at like, I don't really know any of the Republican people, but Trump, and he's like...
Well, it will be Trump running in the next election, so it kind of doesn't even matter.
So Trump, which I don't even know what the fuck he is, but he... Like, socialism versus, like...
He's an authoritarian.
Yeah, authoritarianism. And, which, to me, I'm kind of out of all the political systems, but I don't see how Trump could win at all. I don't really know...
Because
how many people would vote for him after this first go around.
Well, see, that's the thing. Nobody thought they'd vote for him to begin with.
That's true.
Everybody, like, this is why, like, one of the most shocking things about it to me, we're full on, we're in it now, political cast. One of the most shocking things to me was that he, Hillary was winning in the polls the whole time, right? And then he shows up and he won because the people who were voting for him weren't going to tell anybody else that they were voting for him because they were probably so embarrassed. And it's also probably because, like, it's also probably because polls are not really taken out in, the boonies or anything. So that's probably another element of it. The deep America is probably the people who are voting for him, which, just drive through this state and you can tell. But, like, billboards and things. I saw a billboard off of the interstate in southeastern Missouri, and it would just said, "Thank you, President Trump, for all you've done." It's like somebody bought that.
Oh my God.
Like, why would you do that? Even if I loved the president, I would never buy a billboard to thank him. So the people who support him the most are hardcore about it. And then there's a lot of people who are just like, they just don't fucking care. All right, let's steer away from this topic.
Okay, let's talk about something else.
Let's Taco Bell.
Let's Taco Bell about something else. My armpits itch. So that.
I'm getting a little sweat on.
Me too.
I'm glad that we got to walk around.
Miss this neighborhood. For your viewers, they don't really know what we're talking about.
This is a really nice neighborhood. It's really pretty in the fall.
Love it. Oh my God, it is. Like when all the leaves fall down and the whole thing just looks like yellow and red.
Are we on Main right now?
I don't know. I think we're not.
Because I'm trying to remember if this is the route that I took.
I think we're past Main.
I can't be tripped in these boots. I can't be tripped. He can't be killed.
Are there boots that are associated with? This is the last. Thing. Is there a boots associated with Proud Boys?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know about Proud Boys, but I was gonna. That's what I mentioned to you when you brought the polo thing up. Is like wearing like dark, work boots or something is a very fascist neo-Nazi statement.
I just like what kind you're wearing. Like
mine are very obvious. Yeah, those are like the ones I feel like are with the image are a little bit more like shiny leather, thin, like combat boots.
You know what would be hilarious?
These are Timberlands.
If people dressed up their kids for Halloween as like fascist icon people, one day that will be a thing.
In a perfect society, it would fly. So we're on our way.
Okay, let's talk about.
I've been reading some books.
Okay.
Have you been reading books? Oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to talk about women. I was going to bring up a subject of women. I don't really know what, but
Can't live with them, can't live without them. And that's a wrap on that discussion.
Talk about it later. Let's go with the books.
Let's go with the books things. You just got canceled. I'm sorry. You just got canceled 15 years from now.
What's that called again? Cancel culture?
Cancel culture is a way to describe
Cancel culture.
the or outrage culture.
I'm so fucking
Cultural wars.
that I'm canceled.
I think culture wars is a really good way to sum up the entire whole thing, you know?
Culture wars. Oh, dude, okay. I got a kind of a cool story to tell that I felt
Go
like
for it.
Crocodile Hunter for like a split second. I live in the country now, and I walk just on these dirt roads for miles, which is really just like 2 miles. The other day, I saw like 2-foot fucking black snake.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I like snakes. So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is my opportunity to try and like have my own animal show in my head.
Oh, my God.
And so I got up close to it, and it was moving when I got to it. And then as soon as I got out to it, it stopped moving. And then it just like looked straight and started doing its like tongue thing to feel the air, because I think that's how snakes like feel shit out. They use their tongue.
Oh, yeah, they taste the air.
Yeah, it was weird. But so I got to him. I got in my crocodile hunter stance where you kind of like bend your knees and like have your groin out.
Yeah, the classic crocodile hunter stance.
And so I got down. I just wanted to touch its tail. So I got down to its tail, and I touched its tail. And like not even a half a second after I touched his tail, the fucker like got in this S shape and like got into like this striking stance right at me. And I just started doing circles around it. It would not leave my sight. It just like looked me straight in the eye.
Wait, did you start trying to leave, or?
No, he was like...
No, you should have been trying to leave.
Oh, no, I was like trying to get up to him.
Trying to hug him?
Yeah, baby. And then I started slapping my groin and shit, because I remember Crocodile Hunter did that in an episode once.
You trying to dominate him?
It was just a cool experience, because I just left eventually. But I just wanted to see what was going to happen.
So, do you remember? That is such a bad thing you did. I would have never done anything like that. If I saw a black snake, I would have moved.
Well,
I just would have moved.
I knew it wasn't poisonous. But
how do you know that? What are you, a snake expert now?
I know what rat
You're a
snakes look
herpetologist?
like. A herpetologist?
A herpetologist, I think, is the...
Your roommate was a herpetologist, or you studied herpetology, right? Your old roommate, Nick?
No, he was a geologist.
Oh, I thought you studied herpetology. That's what I wanted to be when I was little, a herpetologist.
Yeah, and now you're finally doing it.
Exactly.
No, we're on Alabama Street, turns out.
Yeah. Main Street is right there.
Okay, because, we're going to be coming up on school pretty soon here.
We could go do a podcast inside the school.
That's quite a walk. We're going to have to walk all the way back.
That is a fucking...
There's Burrito King over there.
Dude, that place is so good.
It is good.
I can't...
They got little tables we could sit down.
Oh, yeah. But then we have to... I'm not going to order anything.
I'm not going to order anything.
Okay, let's just...
What do you think they're going to be mad?
No, what are they going to do?
What are they going to do? Try to give us burritos?
Yeah.
So I got a snake story. I feel like you remember this one. You should, because
the rattlesnake.
The rattlesnake.
Right?
Okay, so you already know the story.
Yeah.
For the listeners at home, it was just
I'd like to hear it again.
We were at this park. We were at Clinton Lake Park, and I mean that's not. It's like hardly a park because there's like nothing there. It's just a path, you know. But walking.
Swing sets or anything?
No, it was just like a path, and there was a big hill and
The lake?
there was like plains, tall grass along the sides of the path. And we were just walking, and then all of a sudden we heard the and I didn't know what it was. I was like, what was that? Because it was such a distinct noise that I'd never heard before. Like, it didn't sound like, a movie rattlesnake. It was a loud, shaking, like, noise, like somebody stepped on plastic or something.
Oh,
and
okay.
then we look over, and there's just a coiled up rattler in the tall grass, and I jumped. I was just like, whoa, okay, nope. Because that's a dangerous animal.
No, that'll kill you. I think maybe not kill you, but it'll fuck you up.
Man, it's loud out here. Maybe we shouldn't.
Who's controlled the cars?
Who's in charge of cars?
Who's in charge of cars?
That's not delightful.
Burrito King's not going to work.
Burrito King. Oh. But there's so many cars here.
I know. It's maybe we should not. Let's go down this way.
All right. So,
Let's weird. I thought a car would just keep honking. It was so funny.
Probably realized that it was really annoying to everyone.
Yeah, the car's like, okay, I got it.
It's a sentient car from the movie Cars.
Larry the Cable Guy?
Larry the Cable Guy just passed by us. He was walking by us in the neighborhood.
Dude. We should have got his autograph.
Damn it.
Favorite comedian.
Is he still doing cable?
Next bit.
Next bit.
You made 2 bits on this already.
Yeah. Next bit. Next joke. So I got another fun animal story from I guess it was early August. So I was in the basement of my house, and it was like midnight, and I was just listening to music. I almost tripped again.
Boots unstoppable.
Boots untrippable.
Untrippable.
What were you doing?
I was doing the Kimmy Schmidt. You know that show?
Oh,
Unbreakable?
yeah. I was doing Smooth Criminal. I don't know
Dude,
why.
that's wrong, man.
Oh, shit. Damn it.
Cut it.
Cut it. Anyway. Okay. So anyway, I was just listening to some music. I was listening to Bowie. I've been listening to a lot of Bowie lately. David Bowie, check him out sometime. Yeah, like I was listening to some of his '80s stuff, so like his Berlin stuff, and like Heroes and Low and Lodger.
Yeah,
good albums. And then all of a sudden, I heard, and I was like, "What was that?" I had a few brewskis. I wasn't like completely out of it, but I was like, what's going on? So I turn around and then like there's nothing, and then so I stood up and I walk around the corner, and then I notice there's a bat flying around.
What?
And this is like, it's just like in the middle, like I'm at midnight, and in a suburban finished basement, and like there's no windows open, there's nothing open. There's like no way you could have.
Rats. They go in through like little
I know.
holes.
That's what I've heard. After I was standing there, like for about 15 minutes, just watching him fly around, thinking like, what am I going to do about this? And so I was on my phone as he's flying around, and I'm like, bats dangerous? ? Bats leave house ? And yeah, I guess so. What I learned was that bats are known for doing this. Like baby bats leave the roost in late summer, and then they accidentally get trapped in houses. And so I stood there for 10-15 minutes trying to get him to, like I'd open like the sliding door, but I didn't want to let more in, so I kept like the screen there. I was just hoping that he would fly over there, and then I could open that real quick or something, try to get him out. Because I'm like, I'm not going to just open a window or something and let him find his way out, because then more bats are going to come in here, I guess. So,
his friends.
Yeah, his buddies, his bat buds. So then I went upstairs and I closed the door, and like I was like, guess I'm not hanging out down there tonight, and because like if you can't get them out, you have to wait for them to fall asleep. So I was sitting in the living room where the door to the basement is, and then every so often I just heard like him scratching, bouncing against the door because he's trying to get upstairs.
Oh shit, not today.
I was like, sorry, bud. And the next day I woke up and it was me and my dad, and we got like Tupperware and stuff. And we're like, because what you have to do is you have to find him where he's sleeping, and then get him to trap him in the thing and take him outside and let him go. And so he actually called like a animal person, and he was like, hey, can you
control?
Well, not animal control, but like a
Batman.
Like a Batman, if you will. And he
Louis C.K. come back. He has a bit about a Batman.
A Batman.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he called that person, and they said, you should just catch it yourself.
Like, fucking pussy?
You fucking idiot.
God.
So yeah, we went down there. We were wearing like gloves and stuff. And it was like the scene in Black Sheep with Chris Farley when he like trying to catch the bat in the cabin. You remember that one?
I haven't seen that movie.
You haven't seen Black Sheep?
No.
You piece of shit.
Now
alt-right
I'm the piece of
sympathizer.
shit.
Yeah. Now,
Are you a poor boy?
you poor boy.
Oh, what is it?
Proud boys. Poor boy is a
Poor and
sandwich.
proud.
Poor boy sandwich.
Oh,
Hey, are
boy.
you a poor boy?
Third.
That might be the title for this episode. Are you a poor boy?
It's a good title.
So, we just straight up didn't find it.
Oh no, it must have left.
So, well, I was there's a million places he could have got into in the basement because we have
Is it finished, but kind of
it's
parts
finished.
are
Yeah,
unfinished?
like there's like parts of it are unfinished storage areas. So like, and then I noticed like there is like a part where you think he can get up into the ceiling and the wall, like there's access to
and
yeah.
it's
I'm like, there's no way we're gonna find him. So so then it was like, I guess we'll try and like
Wait, no.
well, like I went back down there that night with my friends because they really wanted to see it, and like we waited till it got dark, and he never showed, and we never heard from it again, and yeah, one night stand bat.
Never call me back.
And so I was just thinking like, well, either he did find his way out. Which I don't know how he got in, so he must have been smart enough to find his way out, or he's dead somewhere.
Serves him right.
Which I found a dead bat at school in the closet. And,
KU?
Yeah, at KU, in the closet of the equipment room in Ben's classroom.
Bats are like sneaky creatures.
Yeah.
They can do anything.
How would he even get into that closet?
There's no openings. Like there's zero openings in that closet.
Well, I think no. If you look up, there's like
Is there an opening?
there's an opening that goes over to like the grad studio area.
Okay.
I don't know. They're crazy.
Okay, question.
Bats are crazy right now.
What are we at on the podcast?
45 minutes.
Let's see, and it is 8:05. I have a proposition that we can either stop the podcast now or continue it, but we go to school and start it, and we can like
We'll pick it up over there.
pick it up at the school.
All right.
That sounds like a plan.
All right. We'll
Part
return.
2.
Good
That
example.
was a early video, decently like early late video. I think it was that was like a start before news shit, wasn't it?
Apples.
Because it was after the jokes video.
No, Apples was.
It was before the space, I believe.
Yeah, it was. It was so like it was our first class. Actually, jokes we shot in this room. Also, think about it. We're back.
I liked that video.
Yeah,
Did you turn this on?
ladies and gentlemen, we're in a very special room. We've been taking a tour of the sites.
406, I think.
I think it's 40 something.
It's 400 something.
This is the room that I shot so many films in.
I've shot 0 films.
Our first project we made together, jokes, was shot in this room.
I remember how Ryan was like. Ryan did a decent job
Because he had never held a camera
he
before.
never held a camera, but he would just get up on our faces so close and do that when I puked. I was so nervous for that, to be honest.
Really?
Because I
It was
never.
not even your video.
No, I never
Oh,
acted.
to do it.
Yeah, to do it.
Oh, okay.
I never acted before.
I
I
thought-
wasn't really acting, but
I thought you meant like when you were showing it, because I was like, I was nervous to show it.
I was nervous every time I showed my video in that class.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like live or die.
Yeah, even though like clearly nobody actually thought as hard about it as you do as the artist.
I know. You just sort of like get at yourself about it.
Yeah, I think really like it was a transformative class. Or the whole experience at this school was transformative for me. But like yeah, so like jokes. You know, the inspiration for that was like. I remember going home for the weekend, and I was talking with my brother, and I was like, what if, because like I was telling him like the assignment is we just get 2 minutes to do whatever, as long as like with no cuts, and I was like, there's so many things I could do, but I have to pick one that makes like a statement because it's like my first project for this class. So we were talking about like what if, and he like suggested something that was like a non sequitur, and I was like, what if it's 2 people having a conversation. What if they're telling jokes or something? And he's like, yeah, and then it ends with them throwing up or something, which is something.
Your brother said that?
I don't remember if it was my brother or me who came up with the throwing up thing, but throwing up at the end of a video is something I've done before.
Oh, okay.
So, like, because it's just so shocking and ridiculous because nobody, but like it worked really well in that that video.
It worked really well.
Because then we showed it then I showed it to class during the critique, and people were like, this is so weird. I love it. And I was just kind of like, I kind of made this to piss you off.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I didn't take this school seriously. I didn't take video art seriously.
Did you think it was like your film classes? Like it was going to be that way?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it was that plus also like the traditional like outsider perspective of visual art being that it's elitist and they only want serious statements about sexuality. And so I was like, I'm gonna make a video that's like, fuck you. I like people throwing up and doing dumb jokes.
That kind of became your deal.
My style, being transgressive.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was always in me, and it was just harnessed.
It popped out.
Which is like so amazing because it was so indirect. Because I did it because it was organic and genuine to me, and that was what I was supposed to do in the first place, right? So that's kind of wild. Like it's like I went one direction and ended up going the other.
And everyone else in the class, maybe not everybody else, but everyone else took it pretty seriously, I believe, right?
I mean, it depends on what do you think is serious. Like, this is so not fun for the listeners.
No, this is just like, you can cut some of this
I
out.
will.
we shouldn't be talking about this.
Too specific. No, but I miss that environment. I miss like the critique environment because people in film school didn't give a shit about our other stuff.
They probably didn't know how to critique either, right?
Yeah, they didn't know. Well, they didn't know how, and also their taste was bad. Like everybody was trying so hard to just look professional. That was like their main goal. And so
to get probably a job like at the office.
No, it's just because that's what they were interested in. Like I think it's for the generation of filmmakers that I went to school with, they weren't interested in like, oh, I really like storytelling, or at least maybe they didn't realize that. Like, they probably saw movies that had good storytelling and they liked them, but they didn't realize why they liked them, and it was because like the character dynamics are really interesting, and this like the way that they tell you like here's an example, like Carrie, the movie Carrie. Like I think that's like an incredible, like the ending of the movie where they pour the blood on her.
Yeah.
Classic scene. And like when I finally saw that, I realized it's so good because it like everybody knows that the blood is going to get poured on her. It's like on the poster of the movie and everything. And it's just like, but he makes you wait. Like it's like a 7-minute sequence where it's like the blood is like teetering on the edge of the thing, and like they're like, Carrie, why don't you go up on stage? And it's just like, that's just so brilliant because it's tension.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a quote from somebody I heard recently. I don't know if it was Hitchcock or somebody like Hitchcock said, like, I don't know, they were saying about Psycho, like the Psycho shower scene. He says like like it's only like 40 seconds that time that she's getting stabbed in the shower. Yeah. It's like those 40 seconds are brilliant, but the 3 minutes before it are even better. This is just because like it's like way more interesting to build up to something exciting happening. Like, and if you can do that correctly, it's good storytelling. But anyway, getting back to the point. Good storytelling is not what attracts people because it's not as sexy. Like the sexy part is like, oh, we have HD cameras now, so we can make stuff look like it's Hollywood, and it's just like that's what attracts them. They want to make stuff that looks professional because it's impressive to other people. I think that's a big attraction.
It's like going to a school for the jerseys and training facility in football terms.
Yeah.
But like in this case, you're going to school because your fucking video looks HD and professional.
Yeah, they're not
without any substance.
Yeah,
zero substance.
Exactly. It's just like I don't think the people who are going to film school here, and I'm being kind of mean, I guess, in some ways, but not to like really put people down. It's just like I don't think they came here to be artists. They came to like, I don't know, like they liked YouTube vloggers and not storytellers. Like.
I remember you showed me. Wasn't there's like a video you showed me of a final project where it was two chicks or a chick who It was like a YouTube vlog thing.
Probably. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many bad projects. And it's funny because, like, my capstone project, I actually, like, I was like, all right, I'm going to shoot, like, a real dialogue-based scene between two characters and try to make it good. And I worked on the script for a long time. I shot it in 2 hours, but, like, which is Brace for Impact.
Yeah.
And, like, only took, like, 2 hours to shoot it. But, like, I made the ending so goofy and ridiculous because I kind of...
What was the ending again?
So, like, the premise is that there's the notification on their phones that a missile is coming to destroy their hometown, and then at the end, it turns out it was... Yeah, it says, whoops, and then it just breaks into a ska music video. And there's no, like, point to that. It's just funny, because it's, like, it's unexpected.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You did that for your capstone.
I fucking did it because I was like, this is who I am. Take me for who I am. And you know what? My professor, I thought he would react more negatively, but he said he liked it. He thought it was good, and then he goes, that music at the end. That's, what do you call it? Ska? He didn't know. He didn't know what ska. He's an old head. He referenced Frank Zappa. That's his generation.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't know what ska was, but like. I don't know, that was funny. It was weird that he was okay with it, but when we had the film school awards show at the end of the year, I submitted that. And usually the seniors got the most consideration because it was their last opportunity to do so. And I didn't get a nomination, I got nothing.
Damn.
And there's a lot of awards that go out, and they go to a lot of different bad stuff, even when it's bad. I mean, we won the one for Doobie
Was
Scoo.
it sound or something?
Yeah, for best sound, which is like, it's awful. The sound is awful in that video, like objectively bad. It's so bad, it's so dumb. And then I shoot
shit in
I
the
know.
background.
There's a lot of wind in it.
Yeah.
And then I submit like an actually like decent film, even though it's got a ridiculous ending.
Bupkis.
Yeah, nothing. Ugh, man.
And then
That's a bummer.
Do you know what that guy's doing who would win every award?
He was editing a Hollywood movie, last I heard.
Editing?
Or assistant editing, maybe.
Damn.
A Hollywood movie with Cole Sprouse in it or something.
Cole Sprouse is doing stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Man, those were the...
Cole Sprouse is like a big deal.
Really?
He's on that Riverdale show.
What's Riverdale?
It's like a punk-ass Twin Peaks ripoff that
Is it
for
really?
teenagers. It's based on like the Archie comics characters, but it's like they're just doing Twin Peaks. Like it's teenagers and somebody gets murdered and it's
In the beginning, too.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I've never watched it, but the parts I've seen of it are so bad.
I gotta look that. Okay. Middle podcast. I'm gonna look up Cole Sprouse and Riverdale.
But yeah, that wasn't as disappointing. I figured that they wouldn't like that video in some ways, even though I was like, there's no reason for them not to like it other than that the ending is ridiculous.
What do people say in class?
Hardly anything, because like I said, they don't know how to critique. They don't know what to say. I think
Twin Peaksy.
the only things that they said were like, I don't know, maybe your lighting could have been a little bit better. And I'm like, great.
So just bullshit.
Yeah, stupid things that like just to say something, you know?
So Rotten Tomatoes would beg to differ on this Riverdale thing.
It's a popular show, but it is horrible. You have to look up bad writing from Riverdale, and there's like compilations of it on YouTube.
Oh,
and
really?
It's pretty funny.
Maybe you can put. Oh no, you probably would get taken off if you put Riverdale snippets into this.
Maybe, but that's a lot of effort. I'm gonna have to like. Oh, actually, you know what? If it's just right here, maybe I'll do it.
Cheryl, what are you doing?
Paying you back for saving me at Sweetwater River. You gave me the kiss of life, Archie Andrews. Now I've given it to your dad.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in, and I don't want to fit in. Have you ever seen me without this stupid hat on? That's weird.
It might be a neat option for you to go to.
Well, the point, like, I could go to an art school. I could go to RISD or whatever.
Yeah, maybe not RISD.
Yeah, who knows?
Well, I don't know if they do film there?
I think I'm saying an art school, like for art, for visual art. And I'm going to get an MFA, but in film.
Okay.
But if I got an MFA in art, that's one way to go. But it's just like that's not as useful for being a filmmaker because you have to go to a film
For
program so you
resumes?
can meet film people. Like it's about meeting people. Plug. It's about showing people the movie, meeting people. No, it's about making connections more than anything. You know who knew that? Ryan Von Zandt.
I know. Well, you can do that in art school. That's all.
I know,
art
but
school
I didn't
is.
realize it until the end. Well, but I'm saying like film connections. Like the thing is, you have to jump from school to festivals. You have to jump to school to productions. I'm not just saying
You're
like
on film school right now. Right?
yeah, film school. Like that's what you do there. You meet actual people who are into making films, regardless of your artistic sensibilities. Because I think going to like a grad school for film opens you up to a more progressive crowd, more progressive and open-minded people than like the film school I went to, which is a theory-intensive program that doesn't like it's not very like prestigious or storied one or anything, you know.
So, are you talking about if you went to grad school, film school? You're talking about would be more open.
Yeah, because I think they would appreciate. Like,
did you talk to the grads that were in the KU film school?
No, but they were all doing theory stuff. They don't. There's not a film production MFA here.
There's not.
No.
Oh, so maybe it's just theory stuff.
They just write papers.
Okay.
They just write papers.
Write papes. That's not fun.
I know.
Fucking boring.
Fucking lame.
God, it is lame.
I mean, sometimes those people get to work on productions with the
Do
professors.
they write screenplays?
Maybe. I know that's. I think there was like one guy whose whole study was about Jim Jarmusch, and I think he was writing a screenplay. No, Demetrius. No,
Demetrius. That's a hell of a name.
that's a cool name.
Demetrius sounds like a superhero.
Demetrius.
Demetrius. I'm Demetrius.
And he shoots lightning out of his hands, I guess. Yeah, no.
Okay, what else do we want to talk about on this podcast?
We never got around to books. You read any books?
Fuck books. I read.
Have you ever read a book? You definitely read more books than me, so.
Oh no, I'm not doubting that.
Yeah, you dumbass piece of shit.
I haven't read any books lately.
Oh.
Recently, I kind of started this book by J.D. Salinger called.
Catcher You Rye.
No, I read that a long ago.
Yeah, what are you taking for?
Franny and Zoe is what this one's called.
Okay.
Have you heard of that one?
He only has a couple of writings available.
Yeah, and
I think I've heard of that one.
Okay, so I think what happens in the end of the story is connected to a short story he did, which I read this short story and it's fucking weird. But this chick, it kind of just starts within the middle of a story. It doesn't give you. Well, this is the short story, so they didn't have time to do it. It's like 3 pages long.
Yeah.
So this chick is at this hotel, like in Florida or whatever, and she's on the phone with her mom, and mom's bitching about her and how she's with this guy here. But then, so that's all happening, and it cuts to the boyfriend or husband or whatever, it doesn't say, and he's on the beach. And then there's this other sidetrack of the story that happens before the beach scene where this little girl, like her mom's putting sunblock on her or something, and then the little girl goes onto the beach. And then somehow the boyfriend guy knows this little girl, and they start playing together on the beach. And you get this real pervy vibe going on. Nothing really happens, but the way they're talking to each other is like real romantic-y. And at one point he kisses the bottom of her foot. Like,
okay.
It sounds so sexual, but like nothing happens. And then so that all ends. Nothing happens between them. She goes back to her mom and he goes back to the room. And then once he steps into the room with the girlfriend, the last thing he writes in the short story is that this dude puts a gun to his head and kills himself. And that's how the story ends. And supposedly this story connects to this Franny and Zoe thing, that either Zoe or Franny was related to this guy who killed themselves, and somehow the story connects them. I haven't gotten that far, but it's the reason why I'm also interested in him is because supposedly J.D. Salinger was really into Zen. And like he puts a little bit, like the Franny and Zoe thing, Franny in the beginning, it's like cut in half, like there's like 100 or 70 pages devoted to Franny and the rest is Zoe shit. But Franny talks about to her like all the writers in the 20s always talked about dudes being in Yale or Harvard or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
So Franny's boyfriend goes to Yale and they're gonna go to this football game or some shit. But then this guy's a fucking idiot. And then Franny's talking about how this dude is this book this book she read was about a dude who would go to place and talk about this form of prayer where you just have to say this prayer non-stop, and then eventually it'll just be it'll just go on in your head. You don't have to do it, and then eventually you'll reach like nirvana, basically. Like you'll see God. And she was relaying that to Buddhism and shit. And that's kind of interesting because this book was written probably like in the 20s or early 30s.
I thought Catcher in the Rye was like 50s.
Was it? I thought it was earlier than that. Like the Google. I think it was earlier.
I was gonna say, is it like, I guess would be modernist literature.
Let me see.
So what is it about all of these writers that they're really interested in perverse stuff?
Let's see.
Like, I feel like a lot of them are. Like Lolita and stuff like that. Like what is like Lolita, the book? It's by
Oh no, I just know the movie.
A Russian writer.
Yeah.
Or a guy with a Russian name at least.
Let's see, Franny and Zoe. Oh shit, I was way off. So Franny and Zoe is written in 61.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I don't really read a lot of fiction or literature or anything because although I should, because a lot of directors talk about how reading books helps them write screenplays.
It makes sense. Because I mean that's what. Oh, so he was born in 1920. So he died in 2010.
Supposedly a really mysterious, reclusive dude.
I saw a documentary about him. The only reason I read The Catcher in the Rye, that was a good one.
I haven't seen it, but I
But
remember.
at the end, they get a few shots of him, and they say he leaves his house like once a week or something to get food, and then he just writes constantly in this house.
So they like found him.
They found him on the
street. Took a picture of him.
Yeah.
And they're like, he goes to the Whole Foods on 8th Street. He's just like,
no, I've been found. Not anymore. He's dead. Okay, so you're right. It was written in 51, but it takes place, I think, in the 30s or something like that. But yeah, he was like one of the first proponents of Zen in America. Like as a writer.
I've been listening to a lot of Mark Maron's interviews lately, and
on his podcast,
and I feel like I've been hearing a lot more people say that they do TM lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
I didn't know it was like popular still. I knew it was popular in the 60s and 70s.
Somebody I listened to like recently, like it said they were talking about how they do TM, and I was like, this guy does TM? So it was somebody who's like a very like crazy performer of some kind.
Carrot Top?
No, Carrot Top. Carrot Top does TM. That could be another good title for the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it was. I almost feel like it was maybe Norm Macdonald or something.
That would be a weird guy.
Yeah.
I would never think that he would do that.
Maybe it was him, or maybe it was that Alex Ross Perry, the director. I don't remember.
Maron put Alex Ross Perry in his.
Yeah, it was a really recent one. He was promoting her smell, kind of.
Is he a big deal, Alex Ross Perry?
He is in in the indie film community.
Like Wes Anderson.
Well, Wes isn't indie anymore.
He's main.
He's mainstream.
Way mainstream. Fuck him.
No, but like festival circuit type stuff, like your Sundance, Toronto.
Yeah,
Venice
like
Film Festival
Refn, maybe.
Refn's kind of mainstream too, because I think people outside, like, I think there's the keeping up with the like actual like festival film circuit, indie films, and then there's like, not like widely seen mainstream films. So like I think Refn is at a point where a lot of people know about it, like, or at least people who are even like have a cursory knowledge of film. They know who Refn is. Okay. Because of Drive was so big, and Only God Forgives, and Neon Demon and stuff. But I feel like people like Alex Ross Perry or even Noah Baumbach kind of is on the line.
So they're probably more like the dude who made The Beach Bum, but he also might be
Harmony Korine.
Harmony Korine might be more.
He's pretty
underground.
He's like legacy indie.
Legacy indie.
Because like
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he started with Kids and Gummo and stuff.
And that was that early 90s or was Kids late 80s?
Kids was mid 90s, and he just wrote that. Like he didn't direct it.
Oh, okay.
But he was like 17 when he wrote it.
Damn.
which is crazy.
So he's young now.
Yeah, he's relatively young for how long he's worked. He's also a fascinating dude. There's a video where it shows all of his interviews on David Letterman. So the first one,
I didn't mean to watch that. I see that pop up on my YouTube.
yeah, check that out because that's really interesting because he's a crazy person.
Oh, God.
Like he's definitely more chill now. I think
Yeah.
like because he used to like legitimately do crack. Like he used
Jesus.
like,
So
yeah.
Trash Humpers was probably crack inspired.
I think he was sober by that point.
Oh.
But which you wouldn't believe it watching.
No.
But I still haven't actually watched all of that movie. I've at least 4 times started watching it, and then I was like, I'm not ready for this. I turn it off.
I've seen
I think
it
I
once.
get it.
I've seen it once, and I think I fell asleep a little bit and woke up watching it again. Brett loves that movie.
I know he does. I watched all of his movies after The Beach Bum because I had not seen Gummo. Gummo is amazing.
Where'd you see Gummo?
I had to like search through
Yeah.
backdoor websites.
I've just seen the bathtub scene. God.
No, it's amazing.
Eating fucking Snickers and shit water.
But yeah,
Yeah, Spring Breakers. You
Spring
showed
Breakers
it to
is
me.
amazing.
That movie, I love that. Every time I see that, I get inspired in some way.
It's such a unique vision. Nobody's making movies like that. Really.
I think it has a really. There's not particularly a message, but it seems like there's some sort of direction, I guess, in it.
I think there's a satire in it.
A satire?
Yeah, a satire.
Oh, a satire.
Yeah,
Oh.
like I think
But
it's
not a message, right?
Well, I mean the satire is the message. Like I think it's satirical of like how millennials like take like hedonistic, glamorous lifestyles and then like interpret it as like fantasy and like meaningful.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like taking the vapid and hollow experiences of things like spring break and all that stuff and makes it like presents it in a very like poetic, fantastical, romantic way to show how not it is, you know, because by the end it's just like it's fucked up and people
really
are dying.
real.
Yeah, and so if you think about it, like all the time Selena Gomez is like calling her grandma on the phone, she's like, "It's so wonderful here. I'm learning so much about the world," and then it cuts to like bong rip, and it's just like I think that's kind of the satire of it. It's just like. And like I remember like it really hitting home like the last time I saw it while I was in school because it was around spring break time, and I remember like sitting in class behind like girls who were like, okay, so I think I'm gonna get this bikini, and just shit like that. And I'm just like, wow, none of this matters. Like this is like during class, like, and I'm not even saying like focus on your education. Don't worry about like just like.
Isn't that a strange phenomena, that whole spring break thing? I think it's strange.
I think that's kind of what the movie's saying. Like, how fucking weird is it that we go and do this like ancient Roman hedonism?
It's almost a ritual. It's like you have to. Anyone goes to fucking Cancun or
and
whatever.
they don't act like themselves. They're like completely different people.
And I assume after that, there's probably a deep, deep depression.
Which is kind of like the scenes at the college in the movie because it's like really kind of like sad and rainy.
And that's before the spring break. And then supposedly the spring break is, like you said, like this hedonistic society that it's weird because it seems to me in the beginning it's like it exists, but it's also it's kind of like a fantasy world. But then towards the end, you see how the reality of what they're actually doing and how real it actually is.
And it infuses like rap culture into that too. Like this like, man, I got guns and shit and it's supposed to be cool, but it's like
shit.
Yeah, but he's like there's actual violence and murder and stuff.
I love how Gucci Mane's in it.
Yeah. James Franco's amazing in it.
James Franco's awesome. I love James.
But yeah. A movie you should really see. Like have you seen the trailers for the Joker movie?
Yeah. Is that Joaquin?
Yeah.
I'm definitely seeing that.
You should really see, before you see that, a movie called King of Comedy with Robert De Niro. It's a Martin Scorsese movie. It's like the spiritual sequel to Taxi Driver, kind of.
Was it made before Taxi Driver?
No, it's from 1980.
Okay.
Or 82 or something.
So a little after.
Yeah. So, but it's about Robert De Niro plays like a comedian who's like trying to become famous, and he's like obsessed with fame and celebrity and stuff. So it's very much, it's a lot like Taxi Driver, except for like, instead of being like a super lonely sociopath, he's just like a outgoing sociopath.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it sounds like he's trying to fit in, right?
yeah, it's very like, it is sad, but like in the way of you're like, oh man, this guy just doesn't get it, does he? Like, whereas like Travis Bickle is like too aware. Travis
That's the
Taxi Driver is like, he's like way too aware of how alone he is. But the Joker movie is like, and then they've said this, like it is a like direct homage to King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. Like that's,
Oh wow!
and
so
like,
is it even like kind of?
and De Niro is in the Joker movie.
Oh, what does he play?
He plays like a talk show host, which is funny because in the King of Comedy, De Niro's trying to get the attention of a talk show host who's played by Jerry Lewis. So
Have you seen anything that is Batman in this Joker thing at all?
so he's not supposed to be, but so Robert Pattinson is going to play Batman in the next Batman movie.
Oh, okay.
He probably won't be in the Joker one, but he did say something, like he like let something slip in an interview recently.
Yeah.
And like there was an article about how they had to redact something Robert Pattinson said about the Joker thing. So it probably foreshadows that maybe Joaquin Phoenix will be in the Batman movie.
Oh, okay, but not Batman being in the Joker.
Yeah, but you never know because
never know.
they always do that shit.
Maybe Robert Pattinson will just make an appearance somewhere.
Yeah,
Like, as Robert Pattinson.
As Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. It's like, who is this guy? Yeah, someone told me that it was about how the Joker became the Joker.
It is, but I mean, like, he's playing a guy who's a struggling comedian.
The Joker?
Yeah, in the Joker movie.
Oh, I didn't know that. So he's legit.
It's not the same thing as the usual Joker story. Well, I mean, there's a lot of Joker origin stories.
Okay.
But
I don't know any of them.
Well, like,
What's one?
well, I think the main one is that he was a struggling comedian trying to make his living, and like he was married and had a child and stuff, but like his family didn't like him, and because he didn't bring home the bacon.
Yeah.
And so like he had to take a job with some criminals and to rob this like chemical factory. And then he falls into the vat of goo, and he gets his face all fucked up, and so that's kind of thing. But then like in Christopher Nolan's one, the whole point is that he has no true origin story because he keeps telling you different ones, which kind of like that's like a clever way of making it that he's like a force of nature.
Oh.
Not so much
rather than
a god.
person.
Yeah.
That's the Batman Begins, isn't it?
It's The Dark Knight.
Oh, The Dark Knight.
Which
I
is
love that movie.
yeah, classic.
It was awesome.
In the Jack Nicholson one, I do not like the original 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton.
Is that with Penguin?
No, that's in Batman Returns.
Oh. That's the only original one I've seen. I haven't seen like any.
You've seen the Michael
see-
Keaton Jack Nicholson one?
Doesn't Jack Nicholson play Penguin?
No, he plays Joker. Danny DeVito plays Penguin.
Oh yeah. No, I don't think so.
Well, in the Jack Nicholson version, like they make it so that the Joker is the one who killed Batman's parents.
Oh.
Which I think is dumb. I feel like those are different stories. Because, like, like I said, there's a lot of different stories. The comic books reinvent it all the time.
Yeah.
And, but, like, there's, like, stories where he goes and he, like, finds the guy who killed his parents. But I think the whole point is that it's like a random street thug. And it kind of represents the oppressive grime of Gotham City. He's like symbolic of like the little crime that Batman needs to exist to protect against,
And not some.
and not like an elaborate supervillain gangster, which is what the Jack Nicholson version is.
That's interesting because like all the Batman movies I've seen, he's always facing some like big supervillain guy. But if it started out just some random street thug who kills his parents, I just think that's kind of interesting how it evolves to someone who's being a supervillain.
He doesn't set out just to get certain street like to get a supervillain. Like he just goes out to fight regular crime. That's why the movies eventually get to the supervillain, but like at the beginning he's always fighting random street thugs.
Yeah.
because that's what he's supposed to do. It just so happens that every now and then there's a street thug who is
Somehow.
also an ice man who can shoot ice.
It's Batman's a weird superhero because he doesn't really have any powers. I think that's the whole.
I think for a lot of
That's the
people that's why
joke.
they like him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Superman, it's kind of dumb because he can kill anybody
Yeah.
unless you have kryptonite.
But I think I'm coming from the Green Lantern arena.
What's his power?
He has a magic ring. No, so an alien crash lands on Earth and gives him this ring, and the alien is a part of a intergalactic space police force of Green Lanterns, and they basically, there's a Green Lantern for every so many planets, and they have to protect them from threats. And the ring,
The aliens have to protect these planets from
yes. So like, it's just like every so many planets is like a police precinct where those police, that's their area that they have covered, right? So, but the ring is like, it harnesses the energy of like a very ancient, like magical power force thing that exists out in the universe.
Yeah.
And it's green colored energy that you have to use it, to use the ring, you have to exert your willpower. So like, you have to like believe in yourself to be a hero.
To be the hero.
Yeah, to like do stuff. But like with the
Whoa.
ring, he can like create things. So like he could create a big green hammer if that's what he needs at the time, or he can make a green
So his
car
power
and
is
drive around.
only driven by his belief in himself.
Yeah, that's what's the interesting emotional
Damn,
aspect
I
of it.
didn't know that.
So like if he gets like bummed out, he can't be a superhero. So like
He's got to be on top of himself.
yeah, he's got to be,
constantly.
his mental health has got to be steady.
Jesus Christ.
So his main villain is a guy named Sinestro, who was a Green Lantern, but like he said that willpower wasn't strong enough, so he invents the Yellow Lantern, which harnesses power based on fear. So when you think about it, the fear versus the belief, it's kind of like if he can intimidate Green Lantern into being weak,
Yeah.
where versus like the will to fight off your inner
It's like
fears.
the angel and devil. on your
Yeah,
shoulder.
it's very like spiritual in some ways, like
yeah.
very emotional. Like and then like later on they invented all these other colors. There's like red lanterns and rage.
They all have different emotions.
Yeah, but like green is the strongest, so you gotta.
Is there one for masturbation?
Louis C.K. would be. the
Oh,
lantern for that
burn.
one. No, I
Fuck you,
listened, I
Louis.
listened to his Merit interview like from years and years ago, which was really good, and like it's like really shows you like what a like deep guy he is. Like he's like such a complex, emotional.
I think his show Louis.
Dude.
His show Louis is more than just a comedy show.
Oh yeah, for
Like
sure.
it really points out, I think, his true intentions of how he wants his comedy to be portrayed.
But like there was a part in the interview where he like was talking about like the birth of his daughter, where he kind of like starts crying during the interview, and it's very emotional. And like he said that like, and Marin points out that his comedy was so different before that because he would always do like silly, absurd, weird punchlines and stuff.
Then he started
But
talking
then
about death and shit.
yeah, then he started talking about like existential
Yeah,
crises
that's the
and
good
stuff.
stuff.
I know, and it's like that made it like that clearly changed his whole worldview was when he had his daughter. So, like, I think it's really
He's
interesting.
still probably one of my favorite comedians, if not my favorite. I loved his shit so much. In like beginning of college,
yeah,
he has this bag of dicks bit. Do you know that bit?
I don't know the bag of dicks bit.
Oh, dude, it's a fucking awesome bit.
But in that same interview, he talks about masturbating so many times, like it was ridiculous.
To women?
No, just in general, just that he does it a lot. And he said he talked to his therapist about it, and how his therapist was like, I don't think you're doing this for a sexual reason. You're just such an anxious person that you have to like do that to like eliminate your stress or something.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Like he's just like he got like all analytical about it. But like he like told many stories about like that involved, and then I jacked off, and then I did it. And I was like, so clearly he's got a jack off
He's
thing.
a real issue with
Yeah.
jacking off.
And then I listened to his interview with Amy Poehler, and she was talking about him being on Parks and Rec because he was on a few episodes of Parks and Rec, and she said like, man, I love Louis. I just feel so safe around him. And she's talking about like, there's not a lot like it's not always that you're around like men or male actors or male stars that you feel comfortable and safe. But when I'm with Louis, I just feel safe. And I was like, this is
When was this interview?
dated. Oh, it's before the big old
Damn, I wonder how she
the big
felt
egg
after
dropped.
that.
It was probably very uncomfortable.
He goes to clubs now, I've heard. He still
Yeah.
gets booked at places.
I think it can go either way for him too. Like you read stories about like he went somewhere and everybody was pissed, or he went somewhere and everybody like gave him an 8-minute standing ovation. You know, like
That's a good kind of metaphor for society in general now.
things are crazy right now.
Things are crazy right now. I think Aziz Ansari got the real shit on the stick.
But Aziz is back. He has Netflix
Oh,
special.
I know he's way back, but
And it was trash. Aziz's new special was awful.
you didn't like it?
No.
I thought it was okay. I thought the directing was cool.
Yeah, it was Spike Jonze directed it.
Oh, okay.
But I think somebody will probably throw Louis a bone pretty soon here, and he'll be back.
It might not be Netflix. It might be one of the other platforms.
Netflix is giving everybody deals. They're like, Chappelle, say whatever you want. Bill Burr, say whatever you want.
Yeah, but Chappelle didn't masturbate in front of people.
Not that you know.
This just in, Chappelle.
I'm seeing Norm on Sunday.
McDonald?
Yeah.
Cool. Did you see his Hitler special? Like his what's the name of it? I forgot the name.
It's like
Hitler something.
Hitler
Hitler's dog.
Yeah, Hitler's dog.
So funny.
I've actually not seen it. I'm more into like I've more seen like Norm's like movies and like some of his talk show and
I
stuff.
didn't know he had movies.
He's in like 2 or 3 movies.
What's the movies? Or what's
He's got one called Dirty Work with Artie Lang. That's really funny.
Okay.
And then he has another one that I discovered called Screwed,
Yeah.
and it's him, Chappelle, Danny DeVito, and Sarah Silverman.
Huh.
And it's like this super crazy, quirky like comedy. Like it reminded me of the Coen Brothers kind of. Like it's like a super complex plot. And it was really funny. It's called Screwed, but nobody's fucking heard of this movie. Because it wasn't like widely released and nobody cares about it. I think it may not even really been released on DVD. But yeah, I'm seeing Norm, and I think that it's likely that if he's touring right now, that he's probably going to prepping for another special to come out.
Oh, yeah, because that last one was, I think, 2017.
The only thing I really hope he's not on that same Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle thing where like his whole bit is about how like I'm going to say some offensive stuff and you're going to get mad about it.
I hope from the last special there was, I don't remember there being any of that.
He's not a political comedian. He does very like silly stuff.
His stuff is clever. Like I remember some of the bits I heard in there were just like fucking, because he's really he's kind of deadpan, but if I remember correctly, he knows how to tell a story really well.
Yeah.
And then just like take you one way, and then the punchline is something completely different.
Yeah.
And it really takes you off guard, but it's also deadpan. But it's just fucking like, damn, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's real nice.
Yeah, he's got some really like dark stuff too.
Dude, he had a joke, I believe, something about hanging yourself, and it was really dark. But it was also really funny if I remember correctly. But I didn't think it was. I didn't think he was like that.
Yeah, he has there's a clip of him on like Conan, I think. And if you look up like Norm Macdonald best joke, it's this clip comes up.
Yeah.
And he's like talking about, I can't do it because I can't do it justice.
Yeah.
But he basically like tells this story. He's like, there was a moth, and he goes to it's like the eye doctor. And he's like, and it's basically like, it's like a really, really long, detailed thing about this moth telling the eye doctor about how he's depressed and he hates his life and he wants to die and he hates his kid. But it's really funny too, like, cause he'll say stuff like, and his daughter, Demetria, and he just like throws in like these elaborate Russian names and shit into it. And then at the very end, he says, the eye doctor, he's like, the eye doctor says, well, this is all very interesting, but you should probably see a psychiatrist. I'm a eye doctor. And then he goes, yeah, but the light was on. Or something like that. This is a moth.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, it's like the original anti-joke, you know? It's like, but it's like the way he does it is so good. Like it's his timing and his demeanor and all that stuff. Well, probably worth wrapping it up.
Yeah, we've done a while. Okay, we'll sign up. I I don't have any plugs.
jwalter.bandcamp.com.
jwalter.bandcamp. You don't have any plugs either.
No, 444, you're already watching it. Good job doing that.
Audio.
All right, bye.